I'm Jeff Cornwall, and this is the Entrepreneurial Mind. Today we're going to talk with Tom Black, and we're going to learn all kinds of things about sales and selling. But first, this word from our sponsor.
Bandwidth for today's show is brought to you by SoftLayer.com. We love SoftLayer here at TalkApolis. They are the greatest hosting company ever. They make everything easy. Check out their website at SoftLayer.com. Thanks again for sponsoring the show.
TalkApolis, the social media TV network for your city.
Welcome back to the Entrepreneurial Mind. Today's guest is Tom Black, and Tom, we're going to talking first of all a little bit about selling. Why has selling become such an important buzzword and topic and skill really that entrepreneurs are paying so much attention to these days?
Well, you know, it's like Robert Louis Stevenson said, we all sell something, a product, an idea, or a service, and everybody's success is dependent upon their communication skills.
But it seems that we got away from selling. It seems that there was a long period of time where people wanted to learn about marketing, but they really didn't want to learn how to sell. What was that all about, do you think?
You know, salespeople have a reputation for being pushy, high pressure, con man, charlatan, cheat, dishonest, crooked, twist your arm, make you buy, say anything to get the sale, good golfer. And so that reputation, I think, caused people to kind of turn off to the word selling. But selling in its purest sense is just good communication.
Okay. What do you think, if I'm a small business owner and I'm really kind of uncomfortable with this whole notion of having to go out and sell, and I can't afford a sales force yet, what are some things the basics I need to learn about selling?
Well, I think three things determine results in selling. One is the number of people you see. So I think it's a lot easier to sit in the office than it is to either get on the phone or go see somebody. And the second thing is the quality of the presentation. And I see a lot of people present their products and ideas, services just off the top of their head. And then finally is the quality of the prospect. And you know, I see a lot of entrepreneurs who don't spend as much time figuring out who they should go see as they just want to tell their story.
So how do you figure out those prospects? What's a good process for somebody who doesn't have a lot of money, they can't go out and buy a lot of lists? How do you develop that list of prospects?
What we do is we look at where our success has been before, so that, for example, if an ABC company, a furniture company buys our product, then we know to go see furniture companies. You know, we try to duplicate the prospects that we've already got as customers. A lot of things happen good when you do that, you know.
Okay. Let's shift gears a little bit. You've been into my classes several times, and when you've come in, you've eventually always gotten around to the story of the boxcar. Can you share that story with us today?
Well, when I was born, my parents were living in a railroad boxcar, and very quickly we got out of there, but, you know, nobody in my family had really graduated from high school, and so my parents kind of challenged me to do that. I didn't even realize I was poor until about 6th or 7th grade. Some kids made fun of my clothes. I came home, had an emotional meeting with my parents. They said, yeah, we're poor, duh. But they said you don't have to stay poor. They said you can climb a ladder that goes straight out of the house at that point as high as you want, called the free market enterprise, you know.
And from there you went.
Yeah. I graduated from high school.
Well, that's a big step, right.
Yeah.
So did your parents get to see some of the success?
They didn't understand it, frankly. Yeah. You know, when both my parents have passed away, but they lived in a 1,300 square foot house when they died, and they had the best refrigerator, the best TV, the best, you know, items in their house they could enjoy. I gave it to them, you know.
Right.
Obviously, I made sure they had no wants, but they just really never got the entrepreneurial success, you know.
So what do you think that legacy is that they gave you to give you that drive?
Hard work.
Okay.
They insisted that we work all the time. I think another thing, I was thinking about this the other day, another thing they gave me was lists, you know. My mother and dad were great list makers, and so I think that helps with time organization. It helps with prioritization of tasks. I think just that simple thing means a lot.
The simple checklist is what runs my life, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you believe in it.
I absolutely believe in it. I absolutely believe in it. So talk a little bit about some of the sales programs that you've developed now. What if I'm going to come to you and get some help? What am I going to learn, and what's the format, and kind of how does that whole process work?
Well, I've worked with companies of all sizes. I work with Allianz Insurance currently. They're the largest insurance company in the world, and I work with small entrepreneurial efforts. And frankly, I adjust my price based on the prospect, because I've had some financial success in the past, so that's not as important to me as just doing a good job. But if what I'd like to do is I do a sales audit and I decide what their needs are, and then based on that I design a training program for them. But typically it revolves around those things that we talked about: how to see more people, how to make a better presentation, how to identify prospects, and all of the subsets of that.
And does that take practice? Do you work with them on practicing that whole process and role playing, and how do you kind of coach them through that process, and how do they learn?
Well, if they work with me, typically for a year or some longer, but if they work with me for a full year, then yes, we role play, we re-meet, get back together.
So you give them homework.
Yeah.
You go out and do this and try this and come back and tell me what you did and what worked.
What are the obstacles, what didn't work. We have them give us the most frequently answered objections. We structure an answer to that objection. We develop closing questions, for the particular product or service they're selling. We do everything that a great national sales manager would do, but which most entrepreneurs especially don't have the skill set to do.
Do you believe in data in this process? Do you believe in kind of not only anecdotally looking at things, but trying to capture some numbers to learn some things?
Absolutely. First thing we make sure they do is start tracking, because if they don't track currently what they're doing, then they're missing the boat, frankly. I mean, really badly. So most entrepreneurs don't track, So we get out the appointment calendar. We say what happened the last 90 days, how many new people did you see, how many follow-up visits did you have,
And that really becomes part of the dashboard.
Exactly.
I mean, that helps them see ahead. I know when I finally started tracking my sales activities, I had a much better understanding of what I needed to do in staffing that would follow that in terms of any kind of growth.
Exactly. And it's so funny that so many don't. People are running $15, $20 million companies and they don't track the activity of their salespeople.
Right, and have no idea where they're headed. I mean, It's like driving with a windshield blacked out in the car.
Yeah.
It is the sales activity that is your barometer for the future.
Yeah, the first thing everybody writes down when they do a budget is revenue.
Right.
That's sales.
Right.
And everything flows from that.
Well, sadly, most of the entrepreneurs I work with focus on the expense side because that's where they're comfortable. They don't feel confident in understanding what drives sales, and they plug numbers in. But with your method, they can learn what those key metrics are and what to push.
So you're saying what they do is they say, this is how much I'm going to spend, this is what I have to sell?
Yeah, yeah, with no idea about how to do it.
Yeah, that's really weird.
Which is why you have so many customers out there, I think. So if people want to get your book, how do they find it?
Well, my website is tomblack.com.
All right, easy to remember?
Easy to remember. And the book is not a story about my life, it is a system for selling, so that they would know if they implemented the plan in the book exactly how to set up a sales organization in a new company.
And the title?
Boxcar Millionaire.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Tom.
Thanks,
I enjoyed
Jeff.
talking with you
Hey, it's
today.
great to see you.
Thank you.